Euromaxx highlights. And here's your host, Louise Houghton.
Hello and welcome to another Euromaxx highlight show coming to you from our studios here in Berlin. Let's start with a look at some of the stories we have lined up for you in the programme. Scandinavian success, two Norwegian brothers and their internet sensation. Thanks for the memory, new must-have souvenirs from the German capital. And love is in the air. Irish author Cecilia Ahern presents her latest novel. And we're starting off with what some have called Europe's answer to Gangnam Style. The Ilzefigi brothers from Norway are already superstar comedians in their home country, but their latest jaunt has put them on a global scale. They began writing songs with factual and comical lyrics, and the YouTube video to their hit What Does the Fox Say had over 100 million clicks in just 35 days.
Cow goes moo, frog goes crow.
This is the video that the whole world's been talking about in recent weeks. It's not exactly sophisticated.
And fish go blub, and the seal goes ow, ow, ow.
Norwegian brothers Bård and Vegard Ivisuka have got something on their mind. What they want to know is,
What does the fox say? What the fox say?
What we found from our research was that foxes are really individual animals, and they do very different things. So they sound very individual.
A lot of people say that they sound like females being killed.
Yeah.
I cannot relate to that sound because I've never actually heard a female being killed.
Bård and Vegard Ivisuka are already household names in their native Norway. Their late-night TV show airs twice a week and is one of the most popular comedy shows in the country. They shot the video for What Does the Fox Say in the summer, mainly for fun. They never expected it to go viral when they posted it on YouTube, but that's exactly what happened. Within 7 weeks, it had been watched by over 150 million people and was attracting about 100,000 new clicks every second. Before they knew it, Ylvis were in the top 10 of the US charts. Not bad, considering it was only meant as a joke.
Your fur is red, so beautiful.
We thought, okay, let's just make this song about something stupid, you know, make the contrast, produce it nice with high production value, and let the content be stupid, and come back to Norway and say, sorry guys, we had the opportunity of a life and we couldn't find anything else.
We could have made a hit, but we
screwed it up.
We screwed up.
Sorry,
yeah.
Cow goes moo, frog grows croak.
Now, What Does the Fox Say has spawned thousands of covers. Some faithful, others less so.
And the seal goes ow, ow, ow. There's one sound that no one knows. What does the whale say?
But what's the secret of Ylvis's astonishing success? Perhaps it's all down to one of the key principles of comedy. Never try too hard.
Come in.
It's like the cheap tricks. When you don't have any better ideas, you just do some, blind guy driving, tall guy, small door.
Ripped shirt, elephant has to fix with needle. That's funny. Yeah.
They're only in their 30s, but Bård and Vegard have already hosted 5 TV shows. One thing all the shows had in common is music. Their riotous brand of music and comedy has obviously tapped the zeitgeist.
I think they're very good. They are very inventive and modern.
Different from the typical Norwegian showbiz guys, so I like them very much.
They have great voices, song voices, and they're very funny and very bright, very intelligent.
It feels like we won a lottery, but So now we just have to see what can we do with this. Obviously, we love doing what we do, and if we can do it to Germany or to China or wherever in the world, that's fantastic.
At least Germany.
Yeah, at least Germany. So that's what life is about, to do funny stuff, and this is fun.
Their millions of fans obviously agree, even if their popularity still has some people, well, foxed.
What does the fox say?
Well, from comedians in Norway, we move on to another famous duo from the world of comics, Asterix and Obelix. These lovable Gauls are from a tiny village that, with the help of a magic potion, refuses Roman occupation. They were created in 1959 by the French team of René Goscinny and Albert Uderzo. Together, they produced 34 books, but now the baton has been passed on, and we met up with their successors in Paris.
The new Asterix comic book is the 35th in the series and a very special one. It's the first one to be written and drawn by Jean-Yves Ferry and Didier Conrad.
We were thrilled to be chosen, but you worry about being up to the job. The bar is set so high. We don't want people to be disappointed. We don't want to disappoint ourselves. We are Asterix fans too.
The work process was very unusual. The agreement we signed had a confidentiality clause. No one was allowed into our studio, and we couldn't tell anyone anything about our new book.
After co-creator René Goscinny died suddenly in 1977, the Asterix series was continued by his collaborator, illustrator Albert Uderzo. Now 87, he hand-picked his successors.
Uderzo wrote comic book history. Meeting him was a pretty big deal for me. But he had a lot of respect for my work and only suggested a couple of changes. For example, I had set the story in early spring, but because the book is only being published now, he suggested I set it in winter. So you get to see Asterix's village in the snow for a change.
When Uderzo announced his retirement after having worked on the book for a year, illustrator Didier Conrad was left with just 8 months to complete the job.
It was tough, and I learned on the job. I wasn't at all prepared, and I had to get used to Uderzo's style. The way he draws is very expressive, in a way I'm not used to. I had to really extend my visual vocabulary.
Conrad and Ferry's first collaboration is likely to face some exacting judges. Fans are very protective of the Asterix series, set around 50 BC. Around 350 million copies of the various adventures of the diminutive warrior have sold and been translated into 130 languages. The film adaptations have also been popular, not to mention all the merchandising. From shower gel to chess sets. And the Asterix theme park, 30 kilometers north of Paris. The latest book, Asterix and the Picts, takes the fearless Gaul to Scotland.
Well, I like Scotland, and I realized that Asterix and Obelix have never been there. In their day, it was inhabited by the Picts, a strange people we don't know very much about. So I could really let my imagination run riot.
In France, bookstores are already bracing for publication day. The Asterix books are still some of the best-selling comics in history, and every new installment is eagerly awaited.
I'm curious and interested to find out if the new authors have managed to keep the classic style. I've read every book and I'm looking forward to this one.
Asterix is part of French culture and needs to be kept alive.
When 5 million copies of the 35th Asterix adventure hit the stores, it'll be up to readers to decide if Conrad and Ferry are worthy heirs to the legendary Goscinny and Uderzo.
The word souvenir comes from the French word for memory. And when people go to Paris, they often come away with fridge magnets of the Eiffel Tower or even French baguettes to remember the place by. Similarly, here in Berlin, you can purchase a genuine piece of the Berlin Wall to take home for your mantelpiece. But beyond the overpriced, mass-produced kitsch that's available, Berlin shows off its creative side with some decidedly funky souvenirs.
A mini hurdy-gurdy that plays techno music from Berlin. A cake mold of the German parliament. Or a cityscape clothes hanger. These are just some of the 20 most innovative designs for new Berlin souvenirs. They were chosen from 670 entries submitted to a city-sponsored competition. This miniature Berlin Wall by Christoph Fleckenstein stands and falls. It was inspired by the East Side Gallery, a remaining section of the wall painted by artists.
Thinking about Berlin souvenirs changes your perspective because, as a Berlin designer, you have to assume another role. I have to play dumb and pretend I don't know anything about it. Pretend I'm visiting Berlin for the first time. What do I see here? And most of all, what do I want to remember?
The designs for the new souvenirs are now on display. Berlin's government hopes the competition will strengthen the local designers' ties to the city. Along with the ever-falling Berlin Wall, the other prize-winning entries include a medallion that's an abstract map of Berlin and wall hooks resembling East Side Gallery graffiti. Fashion designer Michal Michalski oversaw the contest.
Of course, Berlin has lots of souvenirs, but they're all the average, trashy kind you can get in any city. Right now, Berlin is the most creative city in Europe, if not the world. So why not have residents of this creative city create souvenirs, which, in turn, act as global ambassadors for the creativity of this city?
Naturally, the city's landmarks are also immortalized as souvenirs. But the most popular ones include pieces of the wall, models of the East German Trabi car, objects with Berlin's heraldic animal, the bear, and ones featuring the little men on the traffic lights, which originated in the former East Germany. Sales of these are rising around 20% each year. More tourists seems to translate into more demand for souvenirs. The range is enormous. The demand's quite modest.
It has to bring back all the memories of being in that place. That's the main thing.
Something light, not too heavy, and some unique stuff in Berlin.
When I buy a souvenir, it's of something that's typical of the city. Not anything flashy, but something everybody buys. Is it real?
Purportedly authentic pieces of the Berlin Wall have long been on sale, but the wall is also featured in the new souvenir designs too. There are pictures of the East Side Gallery on rolls of tape and reversible bags showing the Brandenburg Gate before and after the fall of the wall. They're playful takes on history.
Venturing to the humorous is a trick to get a more distanced perspective. Laughing at something gives you a clearer view of it. We hope that our little piece of the wall will make people smile and then make them consider why they're doing so.
The designer and his agency received one of the main prizes for Fall of the Wall 2.0. They hope it will later be mass-produced.
The important thing is that our creative people, the many designers who live here, took part and developed ideas for Berlin, and that we can make something of these ideas.
Compared to run-of-the-mill souvenirs, these new ones have at least one distinct advantage. They're definitely made in Berlin.
Want to learn more about Europe and European culture? Visit Euromaxx on Facebook. You can tell us what you think, and you'll never miss an interesting topic.
Many Euromaxx reports can also be looked at again. There are behind-the-scenes looks at how the reports and the program are produced. We like it when fans visit Euromaxx on Facebook.
The 32-year-old Irish novelist Cecilia Ahern writes what some critics pass off as escapist fiction. But when you see the delighted faces of her fans gearing up for a good read, you know that can't possibly be a bad thing. Ahern has just published her 10th novel called How to Fall in Love, and it's set to be yet another bestseller.
A book signing with Irish writer Cecilia Ahern always draws a crowd. Here in Berlin, her fans are giving a rapturous reception. Her 10th novel has just been published and looks set to become another bestseller.
I think my success is because people identify with my characters in my novels. I write with emotion, I write with a full heart. I don't write anything that I don't care about. I have to care about my characters, about the story. And I think when people read it, they feel emotional. You know, people will be laughing or people are crying when they're reading my books. They can identify with the characters because they're ordinary, everyday people going through ordinary, everyday things that we all go through.
Her debut novel, P.S. I Love You, was published in 2004 and made her an instant star. It was translated into 25 languages and snapped up by readers all over the world. She was just 21 at the time.
I was kind of going through what I call my quarter-life crisis, so I was very down on myself and trying to figure out where my life was going and who I was and what did I want and what was going on. And so I think when you're in those moods, I was very kind of introspective and asking a lot of questions and trying to figure things out. And I was also quite fearful of losing the people that I love, and that was something that I couldn't wrap my head around, that we are all going to lose somebody that we love.
Hollywood soon came knocking, and a movie adaptation starring Hilary Swank as a young widow was a box office hit. The story clearly struck a chord.
One woman's husband had passed away, and the following Christmas she went up to the attic and found, to get all the Christmas decorations, and found a box of presents wrapped and labelled for each member of the family that he had organised 9 months previously. So there were a lot of people sharing kind of the same kind of story.
Ahern's latest novel, How to Fall in Love, is another bittersweet tale that is likely to make readers laugh and cry. Like all her novels, it's set in Ireland.
It's about a woman called Christine Rose who comes across a man on the Halfpenny Bridge in Dublin, and he's threatening to jump. And in the panic that ensues, they come to an agreement where she has 2 weeks to try to convince him that his life is worth living. And so they go on a journey together to show him that life can be beautiful, that life can be wonderful if you view it in a different way.
As a writer, Cecilia Ahern has never been afraid to wear her heart on her sleeve. The daughter of former Irish Prime Minister Bertie Ahern, she's not a critic's favourite, but she commands a loyal following. And she is certainly prolific.
I'm a very fast writer. I'm a fast thinker, I'm a fast writer, and so that kind of schedule does suit me. But I've kind of made it work really well for me. I start writing a novel in January, I finish writing it in June, and then I edit for July and August, and then it's ready to publish in September, October. So that's kind of how my schedule works every year.
Every new release by the Irish author is eagerly awaited. By young female readers in particular.
A great way to relax. They're very escapist. You can really immerse yourself in the story and switch off.
I always read them in one go.
In a way, they're realistic fairy tales. That's why I like them.
I love the fact that they're set in Dublin because I used to live there.
Cecilia seems utterly lovely. I can't wait to start reading the book.
Cecilia Ahern, a successful romantic novelist who knows how to keep an audience under her spell.
Now, unmanned aircrafts, otherwise known as drones, evoke some pretty uncomfortable associations. But their implementation isn't always for military purposes. These remote-controlled aircrafts with cameras attached make the best equipment to film shots from above or in tight spaces. And that gives two cameramen from Berlin a special edge when it comes to tackling extreme sports.
Shots like this are typically done with computer animation. But these images were taken from a drone. The Eye in the Sky was developed by Berlin production company Ohm Studios. With it, Stefan Müller can take pictures that were once out of reach.
We're just not used to seeing a camera glide over a street, then follow a car, and then fly on over a house. Of course, you can overdo it, but you can also use this technology in exciting ways. And I think that's why so many people are so fascinated by it right now, why it's being used so often in feature films.
Today, the camera will be flying over the BMX track in Berlin's Melo Park. The drone is an octocopter. Unlike a normal helicopter, it has 8 rotors, so it can handle the weight of a digital video camera. Innovations like this make it possible to take such unique shots.
One reason this technology is so new is that the motors and high-performance batteries you need to build drones like these have only been available for a couple of years now.
Just before he launches the drone, Stefan Müller gives final instructions to the riders. On the set, he works with a partner. Christoph Dundas controls the drone. It has a range of 300 meters. Müller works the camera himself. He receives the video images live over a small antenna. Concentration is imperative. A crash could be dangerous and expensive. The drone and camera cost a good 100,000 euros, and the rotors are razor sharp.
You can't think about that when you're shooting. You have to concentrate on the images. We constructed the drone and know that it works. That's why we use it.
The batteries have a duration of 6 minutes, so they have to be changed often. But for safety's sake, the drone only spends 3 minutes in the air. Stefan and Christoph have to plan their shoots well to get lots of new perspectives and angles.
Und bitte! Du passt selber, ne? Jetzt, jo. Wow! Geil.
With a real helicopter, you probably wouldn't be able to fly this low. And if you did, you'd stir up lots of sand. To fly a helicopter a meter off the ground wouldn't make much sense.
This parking garage would also be a no-go area for a helicopter. Plus, at 4,000 euros an hour, a helicopter can be prohibitively expensive. For the same money, you can hire a camera drone for a day. And the octocopter is regularly booked out. The Berlin company's customers include some major Hollywood studios.
You'll never be able to shoot a movie only with octocopters, apart from maybe a BMX film. It's much more of a tool that offers lots of opportunities. You have to look at where you can use it and how.
For the dirt bikers, the drone was certainly worth it. Without it, the filmmakers wouldn't have put together shots like these in practically no time at all.
And that brings us to the end of the show for today. But I'll be back again tomorrow to kickstart a brand new week of Euromaxx. So until then, take care and goodbye.